Properly collecting and testing for antibiotic residue in your cattle is an important step in beef quality assurance. The Beef Checkoff funded BQA program has tips on how to do so quickly and efficiently.
We're going to talk about how to collect a urine sample. I need a cup, some paper towels, and I want to be ready to catch this urine as soon as it starts. So I'm going to keep my cup handy, and I want to clean the vulva up to make sure I get a nice clean sample. So I poured up my urine in a sterile tube, and I'm going to head to the office, label my tube and head to the office, and we'll check this urine to see if there's any remaining residues that would inhibit us or prevent us from marketing this cow in the next, I should know what the results are in 8 to 12 hours. Now I want to talk to you just a little bit, a second about how you can test your animals if there's any question that they may not have cleared their antibiotics before selling them to market. Pre-harvest residue testing. Now you can do, I'm going to show you how to first build an incubator. I have a standard, an old ice chest. I have a meat thermometer, and I've to expedite things, I have modified. This is an aquarium heater. All aquarium heaters have a screw in the bottom that when you take that screw out, the aquarium heater comes apart into two pieces. The bottom half will have a glass tube. Slide that out and throw it away. What's left is this electronics part that will have on the bottom a white ceramic insulator with copper wires around it. Cut that ceramic insulator loose, exposing these, leaving these two long wires that hook to it. This is just a standard kind of a screw-in plug, local hardware store, $1.25. And I've got a couple of disposable syringes that I selected because they slide in and out of each other, and they roughly fit over the top of my aquarium heater electronics. So I put those together, slide them up, connect, and I don't need to have this tight. I just need to have contact. I'm going to connect my plastic syringes, and then with a little piece of electrical tape, I'm going to tape the joints to keep it snug. Securing that, I'm going to secure the bottom. And the last thing to complete my incubator is I need a heat source now, since and we're going to use a light bulb. And a small watt light bulb, like a 40 watt or something. I've cut a hole in the top of my incubator, and I'm going to slide it in the top of my hole and connect my light bulb. And I now have a heat source that will allow me to incubate our residue test. Now when I slide that in, and before I put it back in the box, I'm going to show you how this works. As I turn the thermostat on the top of the light bulb, on the top of the aquarium heater, you notice that the light bulb will come on and off. Fair enough? So when I set this inside my styrofoam ice chest, I now have a heat source that the heat, and in fact it produces heat pretty fast. You can see it moving from 80, it's rapidly moving up to, you just watch the meter climb. It's now at like 88, climbing toward 100. Now I'm going to turn this down so the light bulb goes off, and it will just come on and off at about, and I want it to stay between 80 and 100. Now, our incubator is ready to go. The next thing I need is a standard auger plate. This is a blood auger plate, sheep's blood, or you can use a standard Mueller-Hinton plate, which is what the federal government uses in the packing houses. Additionally, I need a control disc to make sure that my test works. I need some spores. Now these are Bacillus megaterium spores for what's known as the fast test, but Bacillus subtilis would work, as well as Bacillus stereothermophilus. Don't worry about that. You can contact the NCBA and they will contact me, and I'll make sure that you know how to get spores. But this is what we're going to put on the plate. I also need some sort of magic marker to identify my test, and a cotton swab. And I'm going to start by undoing my cotton swab, and I'm going to dip it in these spores. Now these are safe spores. This is one of those things that if your dog gets a hold of it, it won't hurt your dog or your children. Now I'm going to completely cover this plate with a liquid that has all these spores. And notice that I want every single millimeter of that plate covered. Totally covered with the fluid that was on this swab. Now, I'm going to set this swab aside. And the next thing I need is a control disc. Now this is a neomycin 5 microgram control disc. And I push this off, and wherever it lands, leave it. I'm going to touch it with the top of my deal to make sure that it makes contact with the auger. And I'm now ready to test my urine. I have a urine sample that I collected from a cow and another swab. So I'm going to dip my swab, just the tip, just to get the tip wet with the urine. Set the urine away. I'm going to lift the top of this, and I want to break this off. And I want to make real sure that I have clean hands, so I don't have anything on my hands that could give me a false test. Lay that on top of my auger. I'm going to touch it to make sure that it makes contact. Slide my plate back on top. And you'll notice that this plate is large enough I could test 4 or 5 animals. And this plate, plus the little swab, plus all the materials, are less altogether, less than $10. Notice that our light bulb is coming on and off, and my temperature is about 82. I set it auger side down, double check my incubator, and in 6 to 12 hours, what I will notice that there will be a complete carpet. That plate will be completely covered with bacteria, except right around the little white diskette that we put on. There will be no bacteria growing around that. That way we know that the test is working. And then we look at the swab, and if there's any bacteria not growing, if the bacteria have not grown around the end of the swab, I know that that cow has something in their urine and can make sure that no residues escape into the packing house.
Check out more from the Beef Checkoff funded Beef Quality Assurance Program at cattleman2cattleman.org.